Welcome to Coffee with Ori. Your host this evening is Ori. As he sits here and ponders the question, we want to welcome you. Every Monday, we have Coffee with Ori. It comes on 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join us live for conversations. There are numbers at the bottom of the screen that goes across the numbers that you can call in and ask live questions. In the comment box on the side, you can actually ask questions of the host, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you so much.
Well, good evening and happy Monday. There's another Monday, and here you are with me, Coffee with Ori. Here's my coffee. You guys see me dressed like this because this is a pre recorded show. Today's topic is going to be about when you're feeling alone. This topic came about because I was going through TikTok and I ran across a gentleman that suffers from depression, and he finds himself at times crying and not being able to control what emotions he's going through. I understand that all too well, just like many of you out there understand it all too well. Some people say that crying is a cleansing. Some people say that crying is an emotional thing, that it's supposed to help you. You follow the trajectory of what everything that of things that are going on in your life, and then you come up with a solution. The reality is there is no solution for depression except learning how to control the sadness from within yourself. There are many of us out there that suffer from depression. I am one. I suffer from sadness. I am bipolar, but my bipolar is under control. What's not under control all the time is my emotions, my ability to love friends, like we talked about on Monday. The ability to love friends goes deeper inside me than anything else. The ability to love people as family goes even deeper. So when you're betrayed, you go through these emotions. When you date and people betray you because you're so kind, it's another reason why people find themselves in that situation. Now, hold on one second. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. Sadness is not a bad thing as long as you can contain it. I will tell you something that I've learned along the years when it comes to depression. I always say that I enjoy therapy. Unfortunately, the therapists become my friends. Then they think that I am their friends, and then I still have to pay. They just think that I'm the friend, and I'm not the friend. Sorry, my phone is. I'm sorry about that. So, one of the things that therapy does, it helps you heal if you find the right fit, the right person that's willing to listen and try to explain to you what's happening in your life. When you find therapists that constantly make you repeat and relive all the things that have made your life sad, to me, that's a no-no, because it's not about facing truth. It's about letting go of the things that have damaged you. you don't need someone to tell you to relive it because your mind is reliving it every day. So what I need from all of you is to take responsibility for things that you've done, acknowledge the fact that there is something wrong and you need to correct it. Figure out within yourself what are your triggers and stay away from them. And if it's people, move away from them. If it's places, move away from there. And if it's things, try not to do those things or accept those things. Depression is a very sad thing. I would say statistics say that they talk about like 50, 60, whatever. I believe that there's many more people than that. Maybe a 79, 78% of the people in the world live with depression. A lot of teenagers that since this epidemic has started have killed themselves. Some you hear about, a lot of them you don't hear about. But there's been a lot of suicide from teenagers because they don't really know how to act. Teenagers are not meant, they don't know what it is to be home and not socialize with their friends or be outside or be, they don't know what it is to stay in a house and basically find something to do, because 99% of the time the mother or the father takes care of their needs, so they have no reason to know what to do except but talk on the phone or talk on the computer. But even that has a limit. Playing games, even that has a limit. You need air. You need so many things to help you cope. When you suffer from depression, sometimes the psychiatrist tries to, well, let's back up. Sometimes the therapist will send you to a psychiatrist when, and I mean only when, they feel that they cannot help you. See, a therapist that's not good will have you repeat things over and over and over again. But when you start to repeat things over and over and over again, it becomes repetitious. And because it becomes repetitious, what happens is you're constantly repeating what's going on and why you're hurting and what the pain is. And after a while, they're like, you need to see a psychiatrist. Why? Because they want to drug you up. So remember, the psychiatrists work for Big Pharma. So at the end of the day, a psychiatrist will give you one pill to see how that pill's working for you. And if the side effects start kicking in from that one pill, they give you another pill to remove that side effect. But then that other pill will give you double side effects, so they'll give you another one. I know. I was on 12 of them. At one point in my life, I was on 12 medications at one time. At this point in my life, I'm on two that work, two that stabilize me, and two that keep me calm at all times. Every now and then, I go through a burst with something, and I have to take a breath, and I have to take a half a Xanax just to keep me calm. And I do. Yes, a lot of doctors nowadays don't want to prescribe Xanax, so they don't want to prescribe other things because they feel that they're antipsychotic, and people are just going to abuse them. Of course, I live in the state where people have abused drugs for decades. Here in Florida, this was the drug addict state. Everybody used to come from outside just to come here to heal. And that's why there's so much homelessness here. That's why there are so many drug addicts here. There are so many crystal meth addicts. When you go to the psychiatrist, there's always people here, and they are going there to get Suboxone, which Suboxone also it's addicting. So it heals you by helping you remove the craving of heroin, but at the same time, if you're on it for more than a year, you will get hooked on Suboxone, where you actually go out and buy it. There are many doctors and many clinics here that will sell you Suboxone without a prescription. Is it legal? I don't know. Is it illegal? I'm sure it is. Some people go to their general practitioner when their doctor's not available, and they try to get over and get pills from their PCP, which is their primary doctor, and then get it from the psychiatrist. Little do they know that now everything is computerized, so the psychiatrist is able to look at your file online and see who has prescribed, and then they can cut you off, or your doctor can cut you off, which a lot of them do. But a lot of them, like I said, a lot of them will sell you the drugs. They don't care. A lot of them are on the what do you call that? They're on the list of doctors that prescribe, overly prescribe. So the government watches them. But then again, let's be real. You know how this government is. Big pharmaceutical companies, they don't care. They want to see you half dead anyway. They want to see you like a zombie. So at the end of the day, that's what you're going to be. That's what you want. I was there. I lived it. I have family members that are also bipolar. Some are on the medication. Some of them are not. Some are like me, that we suffer of depression. And then a lot of them are just nasty. They're just people with bipolar that are horribly nasty. They don't care about people. They don't care about what they say. They don't care about what they do. And not just family. I know a lot of people, friends, or people that I've called friends that are bipolar. They don't talk about it, but they are bipolar. They don't take their medications, and they're just nasty. But sometimes it's not that they're nasty. Sometimes it's just that they're mean-spirited inside. They've always been. And the bipolar just makes them worse. That's all it is. It makes it worse. People that suffer from depression, that are very emotional, like the kind of depression that I suffer from, sometimes can't help but cry, because that's their only way. But sometimes they just cry and cry and cry and cry, and people look at them and they laugh at them, and they look at them and they think that they're fools or they're idiots. Little do they know that the demon that lives inside of us, that part of us that makes us susceptible and makes us emotional, that part of us that is triggered by something more than ourselves. So at the end of the day, you have to take a deep breath, and you really have to ask yourself, if I'm not a person who suffers from depression, but yet I know someone that does, maybe I need to figure out how I deal with depression, how to learn how to deal with people who are depressed, so that way you can be a true friend. But if you have friends that are bipolar and they're really nasty, and you tell them about themselves, and yet they don't want to admit that they have a problem, and they won't get help, then don't help them. The only thing you can do to help them is to walk away, so that you yourself don't get caught up in it. Because trust me, you can get caught up in it. I have lived my life as an enabler, but I have also lived my life as a codependent. There have been many good people out there that have helped me or have tried to help me along the years, and I will forever be grateful. But then you become a codependent, and then you depend too much on them, and then when you have to do things on your own, it becomes a big burden on them. But it also becomes a burden on you when they start showing their assets to you, and start showing you or talking about you, about the things that they've done. Again, people with depression should not feel like they're alone. You're not alone. People that suffer from sadness should not feel like they're alone. Half of America suffers from sadness. Half of America is on Prozac. Half of America is on some type of substance drug. And half of America or more abuse substances. I'm not one of them, but there are a lot of us out there that are depressed that do need to feel like they have to abuse the drugs, because it's the only way they're going to find peace and silence in their head. Which in reality, some people take Xanax and then they drink. Some people take their bipolar medication and they drink, and they're really not supposed to. So at the end of the day, they become even worse. They were worse. They were bad drunks at one point, and they become worse drunks and worse people with bipolar. They think that smoking weed is going to help them. They think that this is going to help them. Yes, weed may help to a certain degree, but it will never numb the emptiness inside of you. It will never change the path, the journey that you have to take. Again, now we're jumping into something different. I said a while ago that there's more crazy people in the street than there are in mental institutions. Mental institutions are like jail. Anything called an institution is like jail. Churches that are institutions are like jail. Rehab centers are jails. At the end of the day, are they really helping you get over over the drug problem? No, they're not. They're interested in charging your insurance, your Medicare, whatever it is that you're on, and then they want to hook you on something different, which they say can help you. And then, of course, they want you to come in and do therapy. But if you're not ready to leave a place, then they shouldn't let you go. They should be there and monitor you closely on a one-on-one, not just give you Suboxone and let you go through it, how are you feeling today? Oh, I'm just feeling fine. And then you just walk away. It's not the way. People who suffer from depression, true depression, are always sad. No matter what it is that we do to try to fill our hearts, our minds, our souls, our bodies, mind, and spirit, there is nothing that can fill that gap unless we fill it, because we are the ones that are solely responsible for happiness. And as long as you start to realize that, you start to find happiness at a little bit at a time. There's no reason to rush to try to make these things go away, because the more you try to rush things, the worse it becomes. The best thing to do is talk about it with someone who can really help you, or someone who's willing to listen, and explain to them. Often, I run across people that call me and they say, oh, well, if I don't call you, you don't call me. But guess what? I'm not one to call people. I try to do that. I try to reach out, but sometimes it's difficult for me because there's so many things that I'm involved in. It's not that I'm ignoring people. It's just too many things that I am involved in. And because I am so grateful and I live in the gratitude every single day, and because I am monitoring myself and I find myself doing really well, I cannot stop what I'm doing for me to better myself, to stop and talk shit on the phone for hours. I cannot do that. I cannot take care of your problem if I cannot take care of me. I cannot find a solution for your problems if I don't have one for myself. I cannot be the best reader that I can be if I'm too busy focusing on what you're going through. And believe me, a great deal of people that call, not just me, other people, I've seen it, I've been through it, I have lived it, and other people have lived it as well. There are people that come into our lives for a reason, and there are people that come into our lives for a season. Sometimes people that we confide in, and people that we trust, and sometimes people that we care about, in 1 second they care about us and they're talking to us. Oh, I really need that. But at the same token is, well, what can I get read? When can you read me? When can you do this? When can you do that? What about hi? How are you? How are you doing? How's your week? How's your family? How are you feeling? Are you doing okay? Emotionally, physically, are you doing okay? Is there anything that I can do for you? Do you need anything from me? That's the proper response, because I know that when I call someone, first thing I say is, how are you? How are you doing? How's everything? How's your mother? How's your father? How's your family? How you been? How's work? I want to know exactly what is going on in your life, because that's what friends do. But when you have to be like a bargaining chip, where you feel that you can bargain with me or barter with me by just saying, hello, it's me, and then jump right into your own shit, that's a problem. And that is what happens to a lot of people who suffer from depression. There are a lot of people out there that are very, how's the word? What is the word? They are very selfish. They're very self-centered. They are very much into themselves. They don't think about what you're going through. They only think about what they're going through. They don't care about what anybody else is going through. Their only need is, I'm in need now. I'm going through this shit right now. Well, guess what? Maybe if you listen to advice, you would not be going through what you're going through now, because 60 or 70% of people that you read in this life, or people who are readers like me, are not going to take your advice, are not going to listen to what you have to say. The only time they're going to listen is when they fall on their face or they fall on their ass and things go wrong. And then they're either going to call you or they're going to go and get read by someone else who's going to charge them double than what you're charging them. But yeah, when you tell them, oh, well, I charge this amount. Oh, well, that's expensive. So they go to someone else. They got to pay $100 or $75, or $75 is the going rate for a half hour. So some people will pay $75 a half hour to get read, to be told nothing, to just look at your face and see your expression by something that they said. Guess what? Everybody has problems. Everybody wants money. Everybody wants a relationship. Everybody has gone through traumatic experiences, if not with their parents, with friends, if not through friends, through their boyfriends or girlfriends. And 6, if you have a job and it doesn't work for you, then leave your job. Why do you stay? And it's a simple thing. If you don't trust your emotion and you don't trust yourself, how are you going to move forward if you can't trust anything? So it's very important that we look at things in a different way. It's very important that we start to acknowledge the things that are happening around us and understand that we're not the only ones that are suffering. There are many people suffering. There are many people going through so many different types of depression, because depression is not just one way. There are some people who become so depressed that all they do is they put themselves in a box and they just want to be left alone. I know, because I am one of those people. When I am depressed, I shut down. And I stay away from people. I am grateful and I live in the gratitude of the universe, God, spirits, angels, guides, because I have learned to walk out of that within 2 days. I've learned to shake it off and come to the conclusion, look, this person might have hurt you, but look at where they come from. Look at who they are. Just the mere mention of them should show you, who they are and the values that they hold within themselves. 9 out of 10, I don't mean to judge people, but 9 out of 10, a lot of people that don't understand and don't care are garbage. Simple. If you don't want to know about depression, then don't socialize with people who are depressed. If you don't want to be a solution, then don't be the problem. Don't be another problem. Just walk away. Because people like me, it's easier for us to dissect people and let you go and cry a little and let it go and move forward than it is for you to lie to us and keep us hanging on by a thread and us believing that you care enough for us, that you're helping us, when in reality you're not. You're helping yourself. And this is food for thought. See, because a lot of people out there are doing it and they don't even realize they're doing it. So you have to come to terms with those things and understand that we are children of God, just like you. We are children of the universe. We have the defects that we have, that I find, is that on a spiritual level, most people who suffer from depression, schizophrenia, or whatever, we are so in tune with spirit that the energy and the frequency is too high for us. So our brains cannot adapt to it. So therefore, what we hear and the voices that we hear and the visions that we see and the things that we see, they're not monsters, they're not lies, they're not BS, they're real. They're things that actually are real. But because we are taught to just forget about things, not talk about them, let them go, it's not real, it doesn't exist, we actually have programmed our minds, bodies, and souls to actually feed on that. So we take it seriously, or we've taken it seriously as a child, and we have learned that these things don't exist. It's not real. These things are make believe. So therefore, they've already instilled their poison inside of us to make us feel like we are not even human. Again, I live in the gratitude because I come from a very spiritual family background, and we were my aunt, uncles, cousins. You know, we were all mediums. So we were mediums, and we had these things called white table, where once a week they would come in, sit down, do prayers, and people would channel spirits. Spirits would talk, give you advice, yazi, 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 whatever. So I'm grateful that I came from a household that way. But although it has its blessings, it also has its mishaps, and it has its curses. So because I came from that, I'm able to balance out what is real and what is not real. The majority of the time, I would say 92% of the time, is spiritual. The rest is psychological. The psychological part, I learned every day. I've learned, and I'm still learning every day, how to talk myself off the ledge. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, depression is a sad thing, and people do commit suicide, and people do it because as a child, I've tried it. Not as an adult, but as a child of 7, 8, 9, 10, I tried it. And it was just something inside of me that kept saying, do it. And I attempted it, and always horribly, not by pills, but always horribly. But I never truly, truly let the depression get to the point where I would let it destroy me, or I wanted it to destroy me because I felt that I was broken because of my past, the violent and the things that I went through as a child, and all the predators that preyed on me, and all the things that have happened. I thought that I deserved it, but then when I realized that I didn't, I just wanted to die. I don't want to die. I want to live. No matter what obstacles may come my way, I want to live. I want to enjoy this life. I want to enjoy my home. I want to enjoy my friends that are there. I want to enjoy money. I want to enjoy traveling like I always have. And I want to enjoy the good things that are still to come. I want to enjoy all of these things. So I ask you, I plead with you, for those of you who know people who are depressed, don't make an excuse to walk away from them because they're depressed and they suffer. Try to educate yourself. Try to learn why. Because trust and believe, I know I've sat down in the table many, many times listening to people's bullshit of why they're crying and they're depressed. And half the time, when they're crying and they're depressed and they're going through something, it is nothing compared to what people who suffer from depression really go through. And it is nothing that they could not have controlled. It is something that they could have controlled, that they didn't have to be in, but they chose to be in it. So at the end of the day, health, light, and love is the most important thing you have. Health. Sometimes people pull away, let them pull away. I have friends that call, like I said, that I have friends that call, and when I put away, they're like, oh, I worry. You know what? Don't worry about me. You know, I suffer from depression. Understand that I'm capable of letting go, and I'm capable of changing. I'm capable of arranging my spiritual side from my internal side, and I'm able to balance it out and turn it around within 2 days, that I'm back to normal. So leave a message. I will return your call eventually, because I can't stay in a state of depression all the time. Do I ever stop taking my pills when I'm depressed? No. No matter how deep my depression is, I never stop taking my medication. Medication is very important, and it has helped me. But you have to find the right fit. And I want you to really understand this, guys. The right fit, medication. You are the patient. The doctor is not the patient. You're the patient. You have to make sure that when you are on a medication that works for you, stick to it. Stick to it. Don't let them push different medications on you because they feel, oh, well, this one is addicting or this one is that. Yeah, it's addicting, bitch, but you gave it to me. So you gave it to me, it's working, and now you want to take it away because you want to try something else that the pharmaceutical companies came out with, because every time you push this, like a pimp, you're pushing this drug, and like a drug dealer, you're pushing this drug because every time you push it, you're getting money from big pharmaceutical companies. I'm not a guinea pig. I'm not here to be your guinea pig. I'm not here to be anybody's guinea pig. The reality is, what I've been on it for a while. I recently had to ask them to raise the milligrams on one of the two. And since I've done that, I actually feel a lot more stable. I feel like I did 5 years ago when I first started. So you figure it took 5 years for my body to make a change where I started to feel a little irregular. And now I'm back to feeling the way that I was, feeling like I'm alive, feeling like I want to live, feeling like I want to enjoy, like I am ready to be with someone now. Guys, I think it's time for a commercial. And when we come back from the commercial, then let's start again. And we'll take it from there. Let's just wait until hello, everyone, and welcome back to Food Alchemy Network. I hope you that you guys are out there and are enjoying this pre-recorded show. It is my pleasure always serving you on Mondays and trying to break things down a little bit, to break down barriers, because it's very important for us to break barriers and talk about things that nobody wants to talk about. This is something that most families do not want to talk about. Most families, whether they're Hispanic or they are from many different cultures. But I'll tell you one thing though, white people will talk about this. White people will talk about depression, and they will talk about things that they're going through and their children, and they'll put them in therapy. And, I think that Hispanics and Blacks and Asians and all other different types of people need to get on board and understand that depression is hereditary. Sadness is hereditary. Bipolar is hereditary. Drinking is hereditary. Alcoholism is hereditary. All types of these things are hereditary. Sometimes it's in our DNA, but most of it's hereditary. So if you suffer from depression and you have neglected to tell your children that you suffer from depression your whole life, I think that you owe it to them when you start to see the signs to let them know that you too suffer from depression. That way they don't have to second guess and try to figure out, well, what happened to me? Well, what happened to you is that your family is batshit crazy, and because they're batshit crazy, it's come on to you. Simple. And it is okay to say that. Sometimes it's in the mother's gene. Sometimes it's in the father's gene. Sometimes it's in the mother's gene, and the mother won't want to accept it. Sometimes it's in the father's gene, and the father doesn't want to accept it because they feel that they're strong. But if you notice that they cope with other things like alcohol and drugs, then they really don't cope well. If you have to drink and you have to get high every day just to cope, you're not coping. You're just putting a Band-Aid on it. And you're going to smoke more, and you're going to get high more, and you're going to drink more, and you think it's going to make you lovely. It's going to make you feel good. It doesn't make you feel good. It makes you look like a fool. So at the end of the day, analyze things before you comment on them. Analyze yourself before you start to explain yourself to people, before they start to judge you. Because, if there's one thing that I have learned in this lifetime is that opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. And at the end of the day, why would I want a second asshole? I don't even like the one I have. So with this being said, trust and believe, know in your heart that everything that you want and everything you desire is possible. You don't have to live in a bubble. You don't have to live in a situation. I'm sorry, guys. You don't have to live in a situation where you feel like you don't have anyone there, because you have people. Sorry. Guys, because this is pre-recorded, I have to ask questions. I have to be reminded when the hour's over and things like that. So you have to excuse me when I stay quiet. It's because, I have to do that so that I know, so that I don't overstep and I don't go over my time and I don't bore you to death, because the last thing I want is to bore you. I just want you to understand that the reason I always say I said light and love and light and love and light and love is because the world needs love. The world needs understanding. The world needs to know that it's not alone. The world needs to know that half of you are okay, but more than half of us are not okay. And we're dealing with something that's serious. But also, people that that actually have a breakdown like I did when I was older. Now, I didn't have it when I was younger, going through all this traumatic bullshit. I got mine. I flipped when I was actually like in my late 20s. It's kind of weird because I was involved in so many things, had done so many things, and I was very confrontational. I didn't have a problem fighting or whatever, but I learned that these outbursts that were happening to me was part of my imagination. It was part of my pain. I masked my pain with meditation. I masked it with drugs, with alcohol. I masked it with being promiscuous because I thought that was happiness. You know, I allowed people to abuse me many different ways because I believed that I deserved that. Guys, no one deserves that. No one deserves to be abused. If you are a masochist or sadist and you like to be abused and you like to abuse other people, that's a different story. Let it be you. But don't let people abuse you. Don't let people talk to you any which way. Don't let people call you out your name. Don't let people criticize you or judge you. You don't need to be around people like that. Doesn't matter how much they do for you. When people start to judge you and criticize you and talk shit about you and just downright are rude and mean-spirited because they don't understand or because they're bipolar themselves and they don't want to admit that they're bipolar, but they look at your flaws and they forget that they have their own. That little demon inside of them. You know what? Let it go. Walk away. If the friendship lasted 20 years, 30 years, that season, that millennial season is gone. Get over it. Move on. Bloop, bloop. Let it go. Because at the end of the day, you know, like the Garden of Good and Evil, the drag queen, she always said, well, one thing my mama said, 2 tears in a bucket, motherfuck it. So at the end of the day, sometimes you have to be like that. Sometimes you have to take a deep breath and you have to cry it out and then open your eyes and breathe normally and say, I love you, but I love myself more. I thought I needed you, but obviously I don't need you. You need me. So sometimes you need to look at that. Sometimes you need to acknowledge all the things that you're going through because it's the only way. So what I say to you is that sometimes we need to let go of people regardless of what's going on. Sorry, guys, I'm typing. So sometimes it is easier to let go of something that is valuable, that may be causing you more pain than good. Sometimes it can be your own family. Sometimes it can be your mother, it can be your father, it can be your siblings, it can be the rest. Sometimes you have to go. I'm here in Florida. I have a sister that's here that lives in Orlando that I've seen a few times. I live here. Do I get visitors? Yeah, I get visitors. I get people that come from New Jersey to come and see me. I have people that come from Texas to come see me. I have people that come from Louisiana to see me. I have people that come from all over to visit me, to see how I'm doing. Those are my family. Those are the people that I call family. Because if you took the time to come see me, to be around me, and you genuinely care about my well-being, then you know what? Then you understand me and your family. At the end of the day, we are all united, whether we're black, white, Chinese, whatever. We're all united. I didn't always think that way, but we are. We're all united. And we all come from the same place. We come from the motherland, the tree of life. We all come from there, the seed, the same seed. We bleed the same way. We suffer the same way. We cry. We go through our emotional breakdowns. We all go through the same exact thing. So at the end of the day, hold on. Jesus. Sorry about that. Anyway, I was writing because, like I said, this is pre-recorded. This is the first time that I do this pre-recorded, and of course, because I'm in my guinea tea, and I have nothing. I mean, I'm just here, I'm not dressed up for you guys to make myself all look pretty for you guys. I'm just talking, and I'm enjoying what I'm saying, and the topic is very, very important for me. For those of you who don't know, in my lifetime, I've had 3 breakdowns. Minor breakdowns. They were not severe breakdowns. And when I had to speak my truth, I started to get panic attacks really bad. And they never went away. There were times that I was in the highway in New Jersey on the Parkway, and if I had time, I was able to pull over without killing anyone or killing myself. But there were times that I had to just stop in the middle of the road, and I didn't care. And it was very scary for me. There were times here when I first moved here that I had a panic attack coming out of my complex. And as you come out, if anybody knows about Florida, you come out and make a U-turn. I made the U-turn to just go to the light, and I actually, in the middle of the U-turn, I stopped, I froze, and I started to panic. What caused it? I don't even know. I just know that at one point I was like that when I moved here. But I also know, and I knew in my heart, that if I didn't leave Jersey, I would die in Jersey. I would have died. And it wasn't that I would have died because I would have killed myself, but I would have died of a heart attack eventually. I would have died of something else. So I thank spirits, angels, and guides, and overall God and the universe for showing me my truth, for showing me the ability and giving me the strength to walk away regardless. Walk away and never turn back. And I know that might sound a little harsh to people, but the minute I think about going to New Jersey, I start to panic. There is something inside of me that panics. So I honestly have no desire to go back to Jersey. I don't ever see myself going back to Jersey. I lived with love and light. I love my mom. I do for her, while I'm alive. I try to be the best person that I could be, the best sibling, the best brother, the best son I could be. But at the end of the day, she knows, just like everyone knows, they will never see me again. They will never see my face again unless they come here. But me going back to Jersey, it's not something that I think about. It's not something that I wonder about. It's not something that I plan. And it is okay. And that is the biggest thing. I had to come to terms with that. I had to come to terms with the idea that it is okay for me not to worry so much about what they feel, what they're doing. I'm not a doctor. So if you have a heart attack and you're in Jersey, don't call me. I'm not an EMT. I'm not there. I'm not a doctor. I can't help you and I can't save you. Call 911 and let them come and pick you up and let them come and take you to the hospital. Because at the end of the day, that is what their job is, to take you to the hospital and help you. I can't do anything for you. You can ask me for money, and if I have it, I'll give it to you. If I don't have it, I can't give it to you. But when all is said and done, The realities of life is that you have to overcome and you have to wake up. And people ask me all the time, is it difficult not socializing with your siblings and stuff like that? It's not difficult. Not for me, it's not. I've learned a long, long, long time ago to pull away from anything or anybody who doesn't fit the mold in my heart, who doesn't appreciate me for me. You can tell me every day I love you, but I love yous mean nothing at a time. At certain times, they don't mean nothing. When you can easily say I love you constantly, it doesn't mean anything. It means that you like saying I love you. When I don't hear I love you for a long time, and then when I speak to you again and you're like, oh my God, I love you so much, that to me fills my spirit. It fills my soul. It's not like a mother who tells a child every day, I love you. That's a different story. But when it comes to siblings or it comes to other people, half the time, if they don't love themselves, how the fuck are they going to love you? They're not going to love you if they don't know how to love themselves. If they're destroying themselves, what makes you think that they're going to really love you if they're not even loving themselves? They can say, I love you, but how much do you really love me? Do you love me enough that if I talk to you about your problem, that you know that it's making me suffer because I love you? Are you going to stop? Are you going to make excuses? Are you going to lie? If that's the case, then you know what? Don't tell me that you love me, because obviously you don't love me. You don't love anybody. There are many things that has happened in life to many, many people. And while this coronavirus is still moving and is still killing hundreds of thousands of people, because of course, the television is not going to tell you exactly how many people are dying. They only tell you what they want you to hear. That's what the media is about. The media can be controlled. The media can be bought. And that's not a lie, and that's not a conspiracy theory. It's reality. So they tell you what they want you to know. They don't tell you everything. They don't tell you how many children have died. They don't tell you how many older people have died since this go around, before this whole thing. Not trying to be mean, not trying to be judgmental, but at the end of the day, you know, we have a big problem in this world, not just in this country. We have a big problem in the world. And not for nothing, but the red states, you guys really, really, really need to get your shit together. And you need to understand that you're killing your people. And you people who are in the red states that don't even, that believe everything that you see or you hear, come on, guys, wake up. Wake up. You guys don't realize that it doesn't matter if you live in a red state. Politically, unless you have more than $1 million, they do not care. So you need to snap out of it, because this thing is also causing depression on older people, and depression causes you for your immune system to go down. And when your immune system goes down, you're susceptible to getting sick. And there are so many elderly people now that suffer from depression just because they sit their asses in front of the TV and watch the news every damn day, instead of getting a ball of yarn and start knitting. But no, you know, they rather listen to the news. They rather sit down all day, and all they do is just listen to the news. Now, when I talk about the red state, you people that may not know, red state is the Republican states. At one point in my life, I was Republican. For a long, long time, when I worked for corporate America, I was Republican. When I voted Democrat for the very first time, I voted for Clinton. And believe it or not, a lot of people talked a lot of crap, but I remember that when Clinton was president, this country was really good. And people may say, oh, no, it wasn't. Yes, it was. This country was good. The economy was good. The country was good. And things were flying. You know, it's sad. It's sad that he left, because he did something that many presidents have done, except he got caught. At the end of the day, who set him up? People from the red state. Republicans are people that work, people that are in Congress that are Republicans. Honestly, people, all they want is they don't care about you. They don't care about me. They care about themselves. They care about lining their pockets. And the thing that I don't understand sometimes is the fact that you people who follow the Republicans, you can't see it. You don't see them. You see them lying, but you don't want to accept the fact that they're lying. I don't understand why, because they're not doing anything for you. So unless they're doing something personally for you, why do you get so involved? Are they giving you money? No. You know, they're good. They're good to tell you and to explain to you how, oh, you know, the black people in this world and the minorities, you know, they're taking up, and they, you know, most of them, they're responsible for the funds. That's a lie. And if you do the calculations right, the majority of the people that are on welfare are white. They're not Hispanics and they're not black. They're whites. Okay. And in these poor states that are always judging and criticizing, guess what? New York, New Jersey, California, and some other states, they pay so many taxes that the money that's left over, they end up paying for your country asses. So, you know what? We live in a society where people like to throw stones and they don't like to accept the fact that they live in a glass house or they live in a trailer park, one or the other. So people who live in either place should not throw stones. You shouldn't be so ignorant because people say Black Lives Matter. Yes, Black Lives Matter. And they've always mattered. It's not for you to say, oh, well, all life matters, white life matters. Well, guess what? All life matters. But they have a reason of why they say Black Lives Matter. They have been enslaved for so long that even though at this particular moment, some of them may think that they're not enslaved, they're really foolish. And the ones that live within the 1% who are very wealthy, they forget where they came from or their family came from. They forget it because it is easier for you to be wealthy and forget about where you came from, because it's easy for you to spend money and have the money to spend and shop in these boutiques than it is for you to do anything else. So my friends and my family and you people who are out there that I send light and love to, please try to understand that today's rant wasn't about politics. Today's rant is about depression. We need to help each other. We need to unify because we are living separate lives. They're trying to separate us any way they can. You know, Hispanics and blacks and Chinese and all different other cultures. We cannot live separated. We are no longer the minority. We're the majority. Understand that we are the majority. We're not the minority. In the same way we put people in there and we put them in the Senate, we, the people, have the right to vote them out of the Senate. So the fear that you have of doing that, I don't understand. Lord knows here in Florida, they need to vote those people out because nobody really is doing crap here in Florida to help people. Here in Florida, mental depression or mental problems are not a first priority like it is in the North. The first priority here is drugs. The first priority here is making sure that there are many liquor stores to keep minority people drinking and to sell and to break apart. Anyway, guys, like I said, this was a pre-recorded show. I send you love and light like I always do. Remember to love yourself. Remember to learn laws. Remember to do your homework and learn about depression as much as you can. And remember to help your fellow man or fellow woman. Because the only thing that light brings is love. And the only thing that love brings is light. So I send you all light and love, and I depart. I'll speak to you the following Monday. May you be blessed. May you live in gratitude all the time. May everything you want